Hello and welcome to the Battle Room. My name is Colin, and today I want to take you on a special journey into the PORYGON Conspiracy. So, I've noticed, thanks to the work of Nicholas Borghi, that there's this weird phenomenon that's currently happening in the usage stats on Pokemon Showdown. So for those who do not know, Pokemon Showdown is a site that you use to battle other players without having to get the stuff in game. It's super incredible. Most of you probably know about it, but they also keep track of the stats. And Pikalytics is another site that puts the stats in a really easy to read format for players. So one thing that Nicholas Borghi noticed that I found really interesting was the usage stat of Porygon and Dusclops. So let's look at Porygon stats at +0. So this is every single player on Showdown who's playing Series 7 Battle Spot. So Porygon, if we scroll all the way down, we gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. We're still going. There's Porygon at 4.25% usage. Now, you know, it's whatever. It's pretty low. Like, a lot of people think Porygon's pretty good, but like we're seeing more Mamoswine, we're seeing more Comfey and stuff more than Porygon. So it's really interesting that Porygon is so low. And Dusclops we see at a nice crisp 16%. So this is everyone everyone on the ladder, their usage stats. So Dusclops is a nice number 8, and Porygon's like what, 42. It's not doing as well, but something that's interesting to note, so there's a rating system on Showdown, and at 1760 plus, so this is like pretty high ladder, we see Porygon at 19%. So Porygon hops from 4% to 19%, which is really crazy and really interesting, right? Judging by the numbers here, that means that Porygon on the low ladder is not used at all. Porygon is just not used. It's really not like a Pokemon even people think about. But then when you get to the top of the ladder, one in 5 teams are using Porygon, which is crazy, right? Porygon's almost used more than Landorus. Like, Porygon is right on Landorus's tail, right? That's really crazy considering how unpopular it is in the low ladder. Dusclops usage also goes down a little bit near the top. So what I want to do is compare the two Pokemon and talk about them and figure out this conspiracy, why bad players think Porygon is good and why they think Dusclops is good. Because Porygon and Dusclops oftentimes fill the same role. So let's start with Dusclops. He's a little bit more straightforward. So Dusclops, obviously, it's always Eviolite, it's always Trick Room, Nightshade, Haze. For the most part, you can run Velocis or Bulldoze, whatever you need to use. But Haze is definitely popular. Frisk, great ability, and relaxed nature, right? It's a pretty simple Pokemon. It sets up Trick Room, it uses Nightshade to deal damage, it heals with Pain Split, and then it hazes away stat boosts, or Bulldozes the partner for a little bit more damage, right? To like power up their partner with weakness policy. So Dusclops is very straightforward, and I think part of the reason that it's so popular, again, if we go back to every single one, it's at 16%. And part of the reason it's so popular is just because it's so simple to use, and we've used it all of 2020. So it's just very clear a good ass mon. So Dusclops is very simple and very straightforward, and I think that's the appeal to a lot of players. It has a ton of good synergy with stuff like Feeny, Glastrier, Regieleki. It's just a really solid mon that fits on a lot of teams. So why is Porygon so much more popular and so much more better, if you will? Personally, I agree. I think Porygon's better. So if we look at Porygon, again, it's doing very similar things. It's got Eviolite, it's got Recover instead of Pain Split, so it's still healing, it's still running Trick Room, and then it's running coverage moves such as Tri-Attack and Ice Beam. Sometimes Thunderbolt, sometimes a little Ally Switch, sometimes a little Shadow Ball. It all depends, right? I think what makes Porygon so ridiculously strong, and I think what a lot of players fail to see at first, is the ability to waste max turns and to benefit from max turns. So Recover is an insane move. It heals your health by half, right? It's just good. There's no downside to it at all. You're just using a turn to press Recover. 99% of Porygons use it. So Dusclops is a little more inconsistent, but at the same time, it's way more clear. Like Pain Split's doing more damage. It's actually giving, like, it's hurting the opponent in a way while also recovering you. It's kind of better in a way, but also worse because you can't always heal. But Recover is just consistent healing. What that means though is if you're getting hit by, let's say, a Landorus Max Quake, you recover on that turn, you wasted one max turn. They do get the boost, but you wasted a turn, right? And also, the benefit of Porygon is that download is absolutely insane because it can turn Porygon into a really strong attacker with stuff like Tri-Attack, because download is an ability that boosts your attack or special attack depending on the defenses of your opponents. So there's no luck to it. It's just like if your opponent's average special defenses are lower than the defense, you'll get a special attack boost. So against some leads, it can get the boost. But also Porygon really benefits from boosts from max moves. So the common partners, you'll see Landorus and Venusaur down here in Glastrier. These three don't work as well, but like these three Pokemon are boosting. All three of them are running Max Quake and maybe Steel Spike in the case of Glastrier. All of them are boosting stats. Well, then boosting special defense or defense in Glastrier's case. They're boosting stats, so Porygon becomes unkillable. It's really crazy if you play against someone, if they're spamming Max Quakes on you, but you get a Steel Spike boost on a Porygon, it's game over, you know? Like, they're not going to be able to kill Porygon anymore, and you can just spam recovers and then deal big damage with a potential download boost. So I think Porygon is just so good. Normal typing's great too, just like Ghost is, honestly. But Porygon's so good with the Eviolite that it actually becomes like an offensive threat in a way, as opposed to Dusclops, who's all about just Nightshading and more of a support. I think Porygon in this current meta is doing big damage as well to a lot of the popular Pokemon. So if we look at the top Pokemon above Porygon, those 7, none of them resist normal except for Kartana, who is neutral to Ice Beam. So if you were to run Tri-Attack Ice Beam, which is the most popular set, you're hitting all of them for good damage, and they're doing very little back to you if you have a boost. Urshifu is hitting you super effectively, but outside of Urshifu, maybe Glastrier's Close Combat, maybe Orlando's Superpower, but for the most part, you're not getting hit super effectively by these Pokemon, and you're doing big damage back. While Nightshade and Pain Split are good versus these kind of Pokemon as well, because obviously there's no normal types except for Porygon, it still isn't the same as the potential sweep. Porygon can just checkmate things much easier than Dusclops can, and it's way more self-sufficient. I think Dusclops relies on its partner, so Porygon, again, is seeing more usage because of that. Also, what's really important to note is Urshifu being one of the best Pokemon in the game, most used Pokemon in the game, also probably the best. Urshifu hits Porygon with Close Combat as opposed to Wicked Blow, which means you can intimidate it, which is a huge deal. If you run Incineroar or Landorus, two very good Pokemon, you're able to intimidate Urshifu, which Dusclops cannot do because Wicked Blow always crits. So Intimidates don't affect crits, so Wicked Blow is always killing you anyways. Like a Choice Band Wicked Blow will always kill you, but a Choice Band Close Combat is not going to kill you if you can intimidate it. So it really adds to Porygon's usefulness as well, because if they're using Wicked Blow on you, you don't care as much. It's not as scary. Like, sometimes it is if you rack up those defenses, but it's not as valuable as Wicked Blow would be if it was super effective versus you. So I think that's another reason why Porygon is seeing more usage. It can combat Urshifu in a more meaningful way as opposed to Dusclops, who is just a sitting duck to Urshifu. Also, Tri-Attack does big damage, and like you can easily 2-hit KO. So if you have speed control, like Porygon can do big damage because the special defense stat is so weak. Overall, I think Porygon is a better Pokemon, and I think it's important to bring this usage stat to light, because I think a lot of players don't necessarily see the value of Porygon, so it feels really great on all the teams I've used it on, and I definitely agree that it should have more usage, especially on low ladder. Like, 4% to 20% is absolutely insane, but Porygon is really slept on. It goes from basically being like a worthless Pokemon, like you shouldn't even care about, to one of the Pokemon that's a priority to answer. So I thought it was really interesting. I thought I'd share that with you guys. It's a different type of video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day.